I think it was more my spiritual being that let me know that was me.
Individuals that had been doing rescues all day was arrested and charged with looting and rape.
Hello, my name is Richard Giroux. You are watching Artvisions, the television series for creative visions and respect for humanity.
Administration in New Orleans knew that at least 100 to 150,000 people did not have the means to escape if a worst case scenario would arrive as far as a hurricane. And it did nothing. It gave a mandatory evacuation for those who had means to leave, and then it just abandoned the rest. It wasn't until 12 hours before the actual hurricane hit Louisiana that the Superdome was made available. And then everyone had to stand out in the rain up to 5 hours waiting to get in. Why? Because of three factors. Everyone had to be searched for alcohol, drugs, or weapons. So when you hear these stories about armed thugs running rampant in the Superdome, raping women and murdering babies, ask yourself how those weapons was able to get into the Superdome when you had 6 law enforcement agencies operating in New Orleans, along with the National Guard. The hurricane, as awful as it was, Catrina did not hit New Orleans, and most of New Orleans was spared. We was on the northwestern end of that hurricane, which is the weakest side of it. Most people, the impact came from the floods that occurred while they was trying to clean up from the aftermath of that hurricane. The looting started when people realized that the city had no plan to help them. No plan to feed them. No plan to provide water to individuals that many of them have gone without water for 2 and 3 days. No plan to clothe individuals that had been in some cases have been in the same garments for up to 5 days. And I want to add polluted garments. African Americans, as they fled the Ninth Ward and was turned from the Superdome and told to go to the evacuation station, if they turned and went into the wrong direction and into Jefferson Parish, the parish of David Duke, they was denied entrance. And I want you to know that no one had to leave New Orleans. Algiers, the area of the city where I'm from, did not flood. We had over 15 schools, about 20 playgrounds, and about 35 or 40 open spaces that could have been used to house people. None of it was used. Jefferson Parish, that's our sister parish, that sit right adjacent to us, had 5 cities on the West Bank that did not flood. Gretna, Harvey, Marrero, Westwego, Bridge City, and Avondale. Didn't flood. Only whites was able to find refuge in those parishes. African American was turned around at gunpoint and sent back into these flooded areas. Under these conditions, we formed common ground. Why? It's because we seen how great of a need. There was no functioning health facilities in the city of New Orleans, and there was no one supplying the basic needs for survival. So upon this, Scott Crow, my partner Sharon Johnson, Ferris Bowles, and myself, we sit down and we form common ground. Why the name Common Ground, and where did it come from? He came up the name because we sit there as we were trying to analyze why most progressive movements have failed. And we came up with one answer, that we allowed our differences to divide us. So we said that when we form an organization, it was going to be on just what we all had in common, that common ground. And with that common ground was founded in September the 5th, 2005. The first thing we did is establish a health clinic. But when our first call went out for health professionals, the health professionals who answered that call was denied interest into New Orleans. They got as far as Jefferson Parish and then was turned around. Why they was turned around? Because they was black. I saw individuals take refrigerators, snatch motors off them and the doors off them and use them as floating devices to go out and rescue members of their neighborhoods. And all the while that this was going on, they was being demonized as looters. That at 1 minute they could work with the police, and then the very next minute they was being arrested and hauled off to jail. Almost 70% of those who was saved by young men within their community. My son, and 3 of my grandchildren was rescued by a man who had been doing rescues for a day and a half before he got to my son, his wife, and his 3 kids, along with 21 other individuals that had spent that day and a half in a 2-room abandoned building. Some individuals had up to 3 minutes warning. Some had less than 10 seconds before their homes was inundated. And through this, only thing we could hear is how we was being demonized. Individuals that had been doing rescues all day was arrested and charged with looting and rape. And many of them are still incarcerated. And if nothing is done, will be convicted and sentenced to prison.
Their influences, at the time you don't realize what they are, how they're influencing you, but now after you look back, and of course you would get choked up. You're talking about your father,
That
that
choked
you
me.
love.
Yeah. doing a lot of practices that I, as a young boy, would experience in seeing my father do vocals, gospeling. It gave me the inhibition to go forward to sing, because after I found out at the age of 5 I could sing, then, a lot of people liked the idea of, hey, let's get Isaac to sing this song. Let's get Isaac to sing this song. High school, elementary. And it was just a thing that even after the fact of singing, I think it was more my spiritual being that let me know that was me, to sing, songwrite, and produce. That was a part of me in a way that I don't think I could even capture in words.
The powers to be look for the youth, and people happen to
That's
see,
tunnel vision for me.
Well, it's really the way it is. Youth dictates longevity. Youth dictates energy.
But quality is quality.
Right. It doesn't normally dictate quality. So, what I'm hoping that people will see that although I don't have the longevity that they would want in the average artist, I have the quality and the excellence that you don't get. It takes them 20 years to get where I am.
But I think you have a long time to be in this industry.
Let's hire him right now. Let's hire him.
Because of your style, it is timeless.
I think
your
so.
ways of singing and putting your emotions to CD is timeless.
Well, keep
it's
in
not
mind-
a fad. It's not a fad.
Keep in mind, I'm doing standards, I'm doing classics, I'm doing the old things.
And that's timeless.
Yeah, it's timeless. It's
That's timeless.
It is.
And as long as you got breath and talent, you are timeless.
Hey.
Know that. We know that.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed all of it, and I'm going to continue to enjoy it and have a good time. I'm just not satisfied on a certain level, and at this point, I'm on the level that I'm not happy with. But I will continue to grow, and I will continue to go.
I see good things
and
for
it's,
you.
it's going to work.
I see good things
In
for
the
you.
crystal ball, we see good things.
I see good things for you.
I accept.
Because you're that.
Thank you.
What God has for you, no man can put us
I
under.
believe that.
How can it stop it? How can we end this type of injustice? By doing what you're doing tonight. By getting involved. By making a stand for peace and justice. By calling for a full investigation of what transpired in the wake of Catrina. At Common Ground, in the 4.5 months that we've been in existence, we have served 46,000 people. We have served over 10,000 in basic health care. For much of this time, at a clinic that was housed in a mosque. Why do I say that? Because inside that mosque, at that clinic, we had Jews working in the mosque, serving a community in need. So it showed that we can overcome some of the obstacles that have divided us. Almost 85% of our over 800 volunteers have been Caucasians, and almost 75% of those who have received service from them have been African Americans. And this in the heart of the Deep South. It shows what we can do. If we put our differences aside and truly work for peace and justice. Because you can't say that you're an advocate or a fighter for peace and justice, and you say that I will not work along with him because he's a Christian and I'm a Muslim, or because he is a Republican and I'm a Green. We can't say we're about peace and justice. We can't say we're about peace and justice when we look at race. But when we put these differences aside, we become unstoppable. There's nowhere in the world Christ spoke about what happened when we talking about when that light shine and the least of our brethren that we serve. We can overcome. But if we allow what happened to Joe Farmer and other homeless men, when we can walk over them without being outraged, that in the richest nation on earth, that we can allow people to be homeless, then what happened in New Orleans will happen again. But when we fight against injustice anywhere, we fight against it everywhere. And then we can transform this nation. In closing, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, please get involved. Am I saying that you have to join Common Ground? No. Am I saying that you have to support Common Ground? No. But please get involved in the struggle for peace and justice.
I hope you enjoyed today's program, and we do find a way to solve a lot of the problems that mankind is facing today. But we always need to respect everyone and in every way.